Standing in the marble lobby of Sterling and Associates, watching my sister Victoria panic as she realized the woman she had just insulted was actually the regional director she desperately needed approval from, I smiled quietly and said, "I believe you have a proposal that requires my signature." 3 hours earlier, she had smirked and called me just the help. Now she was about to discover that the help had become the boss. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Maya Chen had learned to make herself invisible at family gatherings. At 28, she possessed the particular skill of blending into backgrounds, while her older sister Victoria commanded every room she entered. Tonight was no exception, as the Chen family celebrated Victoria's promotion to senior account manager at Hartwell Marketing, the prestigious advertising firm where she had worked for 3 years. The restaurant buzzed with congratulatory conversation, as relatives praised Victoria's achievement and discussed her promising career trajectory. Maya sat at the far end of the table, occasionally nodding when addressed but primarily observing the familiar dynamics that had shaped their family for decades. Victoria had inherited their mother's striking features and confident demeanor, qualities that opened doors and created opportunities throughout her life. She moved through professional and social environments, with the assurance of someone who had never questioned whether she belonged in any particular space. Her successes were celebrated, her setbacks temporary, and her ambitions supported by a network of connections that materialized whenever needed. Maya represented a different archetype within the Chen family structure. She was quiet, where Victoria was dynamic, practical, where Victoria was ambitious, and methodical, where Victoria was instinctive. These qualities had been consistently interpreted as limitations rather than strengths, creating a narrative that positioned Maya as the responsible but unremarkable sibling who would never achieve the heights that Victoria seemed destined to reach. The conversation turned to Maya's current employment status, a topic that inevitably produced awkward silences and well-intentioned suggestions. She worked as an administrative coordinator for a corporate consulting firm, a position that provided stable income but limited opportunities for advancement or recognition. Maya is very reliable, their mother offered diplomatically when relatives inquired about her career prospects. She handles all the behind-the-scenes work that keeps things running smoothly. Victoria laughed, the sound carrying just enough edge to sting. Maya has always been good at that kind of thing. You know, the detail work that nobody else wants to do. She is basically professional help. The comment landed with calculated precision, drawing chuckles from cousins and aunts who interpreted it as sisterly teasing rather than deliberate diminishment. Maya felt the familiar heat of embarrassment creep up her neck, but maintained her composed expression. "Someone has to handle the logistics," Maya replied quietly, her voice steady despite the internal turmoil. "True," Victoria continued, warming to her theme, "but some people are meant to be in the spotlight, and others are meant to make sure the spotlight works properly. Nothing wrong with knowing your place." The distinction between spotlight and support had defined their relationship since childhood. Victoria had been the star of school productions, while Maya managed costumes and props. Victoria had been elected class president, while Maya organized campaign materials. Victoria had received academic scholarships, while Maya worked part-time jobs to fund her education at a state university. These patterns had created a fundamental assumption within their family, that Victoria was destined for leadership and recognition, while Maya would find fulfillment in supporting roles that utilized her organizational skills and attention to detail. The assumption had never been questioned because it appeared to be validated by their respective career trajectories. Maya excused herself from the table and walked to the restaurant's restroom, needing a moment away from the conversation that had shifted to Victoria's plans for leveraging her promotion into even more prestigious opportunities. In the mirror, Maya studied her reflection and saw someone who had spent years accepting other people's definitions of her potential. She returned to the table as Victoria was describing her latest project, a marketing campaign for Sterling and Associates, one of the city's most successful business consulting firms. Victoria explained how she had been selected to lead the campaign despite her relatively junior status, evidence of her exceptional talent and management's confidence in her abilities. "It is a huge opportunity," Victoria said, her voice animated with excitement. Sterling and Associates has offices in 12 cities, and this campaign could be implemented nationwide if it succeeds. The regional director is flying in next month to review our proposal personally. Maya listened as Victoria detailed the complexity of the project and the pressure she felt to deliver exceptional results. The campaign would determine whether Hartwell Marketing received additional contracts from Sterling and Associates, making Victoria's performance critical to her company's future relationship with a major client. The challenging part, Victoria continued, is that Sterling and Associates is known for being incredibly demanding. Their regional director has a reputation for rejecting proposals that do not meet the highest standards. But I am confident that our creative approach will impress them. Maya nodded appropriately while processing information that Victoria could not have known she was providing. Maya had been working at Sterling and Associates for 18 months, but not in the capacity that her family understood. The administrative coordinator position had been her entry point into an organization where she had systematically demonstrated capabilities that extended far beyond basic support functions. Over the past year, Maya had been promoted twice within Sterling and Associates. Internal structure, advancing from administrative coordinator to project analyst to her current position as regional operations manager. The promotions had been based on her consistent ability to identify process improvements, solve complex logistical challenges, and manage client relationships with exceptional attention to detail and strategic thinking. Maya had not shared these developments with her family, partly because she had grown accustomed to their disinterest in her professional activities, and partly because she had learned to value accomplishments that did not require external validation. The recognition she received at Sterling and Associates felt more meaningful because it was based on performance rather than expectations or preconceived notions about her capabilities. Her current role involved overseeing client relationships across the southwestern region, including the evaluation and approval of marketing proposals from external agencies. The position required analytical skills, strategic thinking, and decision-making authority that directly impacted multi-million-dollar business relationships. Maya had recently been promoted again, this time to regional director, a position that made her responsible for all client services and business development activities across 4 states. The promotion had been announced internally but would not be officially effective until the following month, when she would begin reviewing major proposals and making final approval decisions for significant client engagements. Victoria continued describing her upcoming presentation to Sterling and Associates, unaware that she was providing details about a meeting where Maya would be the primary decision-maker. The irony was not lost on Maya, but she maintained her quiet demeanor while processing the implications of this unexpected convergence. The dinner concluded with more congratulations for Victoria and polite inquiries about Maya's plans for career advancement. Maya responded with vague comments about continuing to develop her skills and contributing where she could be most helpful. Her family interpreted these responses as evidence of limited ambition, reinforcing their assumptions about her professional potential. Victoria offered Maya a ride home, an unusual gesture that Maya accepted despite sensing an ulterior motive. During the drive, Victoria's tone shifted from celebration to concern, as she discussed the pressure she felt to succeed with the Sterling and Associates campaign. "This could really make or break my career at Hartwell," Victoria admitted, her confidence giving way to vulnerability. "If the regional director rejects our proposal, it will reflect poorly on my judgment and leadership abilities." Maya listened as Victoria described her anxiety about meeting someone with a reputation for demanding excellence and limited patience for presentations that failed to demonstrate clear value and strategic thinking. Victoria had researched the regional director extensively but found limited public information, adding to her uncertainty about how to approach the presentation effectively. "I wish I knew more about what they are looking for," Victoria said as they approached Maya's apartment building. "Sometimes I think it would be helpful to have an inside perspective, someone who understands how these consulting firms really operate." Quote, Maya considered offering assistance but recognized that Victoria's request was rhetorical rather than genuine. Victoria was accustomed to handling challenges independently and would likely interpret offers of help as implications that she was not capable of managing her own responsibilities. "I am sure you will do well," Maya replied diplomatically. "You have always been good at presenting your ideas persuasively." Victoria smiled, interpreting the comment as acknowledgement of her superior communication skills rather than encouragement from someone who could actually influence the outcome she was concerned about. The dynamic perfectly illustrated the fundamental misunderstanding that had shaped their relationship for decades. Maya thanked Victoria for the ride and walked toward her apartment, carrying the knowledge that their next encounter would occur under circumstances that neither of them could have anticipated. The upcoming presentation would reveal whether Victoria's confidence was justified, and whether Maya's quiet competence had been accurately assessed by her family. For the first time in years, Maya felt genuinely curious about how a family dynamic would shift when assumptions about capability and potential were confronted with measurable results and professional accountability. The anticipation was not vengeful, but rather represented an opportunity for clarity that had been absent from their relationship since childhood. Maya unlocked her apartment door and reflected on the evening's conversation. Victoria's dismissive comment about knowing one's place had crystallized something that Maya had been processing for months without fully articulating. The comment revealed Victoria's fundamental assumption that success was distributed according to inherent qualities, rather than earned through performance and strategic thinking. The assumption would be tested when Victoria discovered that the regional director she was preparing to impress was the same person she had just characterized as professional help destined for supporting roles. Maya did not anticipate the meeting with vindictive pleasure, but rather with professional curiosity about whether Victoria's proposal would demonstrate the strategic thinking and attention to detail that Sterling and Associates required from their marketing partners. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Maya poured herself tea and opened her laptop to review the preliminary materials that Hartwell Marketing had submitted for the upcoming presentation. As regional director, she had received Victoria's initial proposal package earlier that week, but had not yet realized the personal connection until tonight's dinner conversation. The proposal showed competent but conventional thinking, lacking the innovative approaches that Sterling and Associates expected from their marketing partners. Maya would evaluate the final presentation according to the same standards applied to all potential vendors, without bias in either direction based on family relationships. The upcoming meeting would provide definitive answers to questions that had shaped their relationship for decades, determining whether Victoria's confidence was supported by actual capability, and whether Maya's quiet competence represented untapped potential or realistic self-assessment of her limitations. Maya closed her laptop and prepared for bed, knowing that the next month would fundamentally alter family dynamics that had remained static since childhood. The change would not result from deliberate manipulation, but from the natural consequences of professional accountability and measurable performance standards. For the first time in her career, Maya looked forward to a business meeting not just for its strategic implications, but for its potential to provide clarity about relationships and assumptions that had never been directly examined or questioned. The evening had confirmed that some misconceptions could only be corrected through direct experience, rather than explanation or gradual revelation. Victoria would learn about Maya's actual professional position and responsibilities not through family conversation, but through the formal business environment, where performance and results determined outcomes rather than expectations and historical patterns. Maya fell asleep anticipating a presentation that would represent far more than a marketing proposal evaluation, knowing that the outcome would demonstrate whether years of quiet professional development had prepared her for moments when capability would be measured against confident assumptions about inherited advantages and natural leadership abilities. Maya Chen arrived at Sterling and Associates headquarters at 7:30 the following Monday morning, 2 hours before the official start of business. The building's lobby remained quiet except for security personnel and early maintenance crews, providing the solitude she preferred for reviewing complex client portfolios and strategic planning documents. Her corner office on the 23rd floor overlooked the financial district, where glass towers reflected the early morning light across the urban landscape. The space was professionally appointed but understated, decorated with credentials and recognition awards that most visitors never examined closely enough to understand their significance. Maya had earned her Master of Business Administration degree from Northwestern University while working full-time, completing the program through evening and weekend classes over 3 years. The diploma hung discreetly behind her desk, along with certificates from advanced training programs in strategic consulting, client relationship management, and organizational development. These achievements had never been discussed at family gatherings because Maya had learned that her professional development received minimal interest from relatives who assumed she was pursuing routine administrative advancement rather than significant career progression. The misunderstanding had become convenient, allowing her to focus on performance rather than managing expectations or defending decisions that others might not comprehend. Sterling & Associates operated as a management consulting firm specializing in organizational efficiency and strategic business development for Fortune 500 corporations. The company maintained offices in 12 major metropolitan areas, employing over 400 consultants and support specialists who served clients across multiple industries. Maya had joined the organization 18 months earlier as an administrative coordinator in their client services department, recognizing that the position provided access to complex business operations and high-level strategic discussions that could accelerate her professional education beyond what formal academic programs could offer. Her initial responsibilities included coordinating meeting schedules, preparing presentation materials, and maintaining client communication logs. These tasks required attention to detail and organizational skills that Maya possessed naturally, but they also provided opportunities to observe how senior consultants analyzed business challenges and developed strategic recommendations. Maya began identifying patterns in client problems and consultant approaches, recognizing that many recurring issues stemmed from predictable organizational dynamics rather than unique circumstances requiring customized solutions. She started documenting these patterns in personal notes that eventually evolved into comprehensive analyses of client industries and business environments. When senior consultant David Morrison left unexpectedly to join a competitor firm, Maya volunteered to assume temporary responsibility for his client portfolio, while Sterling & Associates recruited his replacement. The assignment was intended to last 2 weeks, but extended to 6 months, as Maya demonstrated capabilities that exceeded initial expectations. During this period, Maya managed relationships with 3 major clients, coordinating consulting engagements worth approximately $8 million in annual revenue. She interfaced directly with client executives, prepared strategic analyses, and presented recommendations that resulted in measurable improvements in operational efficiency and financial performance. One particularly challenging project involved restructuring supply chain operations for Meridian Manufacturing, an automotive parts supplier experiencing declining profit margins due to inefficient distribution processes. Maya analyzed their entire logistics network, identified redundancies and bottlenecks, and developed an implementation plan that reduced operational costs by 22% while improving delivery reliability. The success attracted attention from Sterling & Associates, senior management, who recognized that Maya's analytical approach and client relationship skills represented valuable assets that should be developed rather than relegated to administrative support functions. Regional Manager Patricia Williams recommended Maya for promotion to Project Analyst, a position that would formalize her consulting responsibilities and provide access to advanced training opportunities. Maya accepted the promotion but requested that her new role not be discussed outside the immediate team, explaining that she preferred to demonstrate competence through results rather than announcements. This preference aligned with Sterling & Associates' culture of performance-based advancement, where professionals were expected to earn recognition through client satisfaction and measurable outcomes. The project analyst position provided Maya with exposure to larger consulting engagements and more complex strategic challenges. She worked with senior consultants to develop recommendations for clients in healthcare, financial services, and manufacturing industries, contributing research and analysis that informed multi-million-dollar business decisions. Maya's approach to consulting differed from many colleagues who relied primarily on established frameworks and industry best practices. She invested significant time in understanding each client's unique culture and competitive environment, recognizing that effective solutions required customization rather than generic application of standard methodologies. This thorough preparation enabled Maya to identify opportunities and risks that other consultants often overlooked, leading to recommendations that delivered superior results and strengthened client relationships. Her work began generating referrals and repeat engagements that contributed substantially to Sterling & Associates' revenue growth in the southwestern region. Patricia Williams promoted Maya to Regional Operations Manager after 8 months in the project analyst role, citing her exceptional client feedback and consistent delivery of projects that exceeded performance targets. The promotion included responsibility for overseeing all client services activities across Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Colorado. The regional role required Maya to manage a team of 12 consultants and coordinate consulting engagements worth approximately $35 million annually. She was responsible for client acquisition, project oversight, quality assurance, and financial performance across the entire southwestern region. Maya approached these responsibilities with the same methodical preparation that had characterized her previous work, developing comprehensive understanding of regional business environments, competitive dynamics, and client needs. She implemented systematic processes for project management, client communication, and performance measurement that improved efficiency and client satisfaction throughout the region. Under Maya's leadership, the Southwestern region achieved the highest client retention rate and profit margins within Sterling and Associates' national network. Her team consistently exceeded quarterly targets for new business development and project completion, establishing the region as a model for other Sterling and Associates offices. These achievements led to Maya's most recent promotion to Regional Director, a position that made her responsible for all business development and client relationship decisions across the 4-state region. The role included authority to approve or reject consulting proposals, negotiate contract terms, and make strategic decisions that affected millions of dollars in annual revenue. Maya had accepted the regional director position with the understanding that she would begin evaluating major client proposals and making final approval decisions for significant business engagements. This authority included reviewing marketing and communications proposals from external agencies seeking to work with Sterling and Associates clients. The timing of her promotion coincided with Victoria's upcoming presentation to Sterling and Associates, creating circumstances that neither sister could have anticipated when Victoria described her anxiety about impressing the regional director during their recent family dinner conversation. Maya understood that her professional success had been achieved through systematic skill development, strategic thinking, and consistent performance, rather than favorable circumstances or inherited advantages. Each promotion had been earned through demonstrable results that could be measured objectively and compared with industry standards. This foundation provided Maya with confidence that her current position reflected actual competence, rather than fortunate timing or organizational politics. She possessed the analytical skills, industry knowledge, and leadership experience necessary to evaluate business proposals and make strategic decisions that affected substantial financial investments and client relationships. The upcoming meeting with Victoria would represent the first occasion when family assumptions about professional capability would be directly tested against measurable business outcomes and performance standards. Maya approached this prospect with professional curiosity rather than personal vindication, recognizing that the evaluation would be conducted according to the same criteria applied to all potential vendors. Maya spent her early morning hours reviewing materials related to upcoming client engagements, including the preliminary proposal submitted by Hartwell Marketing for their Sterling and Associates campaign. The proposal demonstrated competent understanding of basic marketing principles, but lacked innovative approaches or strategic insights that would distinguish it from conventional agency offerings. The document reflected Victoria's confidence and professional presentation skills, but revealed limited understanding of Sterling and Associates' unique requirements and competitive environment. Maya noted several areas where additional research and strategic thinking would be necessary to develop a proposal worthy of serious consideration. Maya had learned to separate personal relationships from professional evaluations, recognizing that effective business decisions required objective assessment of capabilities and performance, rather than considerations based on family dynamics or historical assumptions. Victoria's proposal would be evaluated according to the same standards applied to all marketing agencies seeking to work with Sterling and Associates clients. The evaluation process would determine whether Victoria's professional confidence was supported by actual strategic thinking and business development capabilities, or whether her success had been facilitated by environments where personal qualities compensated for analytical limitations. Maya understood that business consulting required different skills than advertising agency work, demanding deeper understanding of organizational dynamics and strategic planning processes. Maya finished reviewing the morning's documents and prepared for her weekly team meeting, where she would discuss upcoming client engagements and coordinate consulting projects across the southwestern region. Her calendar included meetings with senior executives from 3 major corporations, strategic planning sessions with consulting teams, and performance reviews that would determine advancement opportunities for junior consultants. The responsibilities demonstrated how significantly Maya's professional role differed from family assumptions about her career trajectory and capabilities. She managed complex business relationships, made strategic decisions that affected substantial financial investments, and provided leadership for a team of accomplished professionals who relied on her judgment and industry expertise. These accomplishments had been achieved without family recognition or external validation, enabling Maya to develop authentic confidence based on measurable results rather than social approval or inherited expectations. The experience had taught her to value professional growth that was earned rather than granted, and to find satisfaction in performance rather than perception. Maya understood that the upcoming presentation would provide definitive answers about questions that had shaped family relationships for decades, determining whether professional success required inherited advantages or could be achieved through systematic skill development and strategic thinking. The outcome would demonstrate the relative value of confidence versus competence in environments where results determined advancement rather than assumptions about natural leadership abilities. The morning meetings proceeded efficiently, with Maya providing guidance on strategic approaches, approving project timelines, and resolving client relationship challenges that required senior management intervention. Her team respected her analytical abilities and business judgment, seeking her input on complex decisions and implementing recommendations that consistently delivered positive outcomes. Maya's leadership style emphasized collaborative problem-solving and professional development, creating an environment where team members contributed their best thinking while receiving guidance that enhanced their consulting capabilities. This approach had resulted in high employee satisfaction and retention rates that exceeded Sterling & Associates' company-wide averages. As the day progressed, Maya received confirmation that Victoria's presentation was scheduled for the following week, requiring final evaluation of Hartwell Marketing's proposal and determination of whether their approach merited approval for the Sterling & Associates campaign. The decision would be based entirely on business considerations rather than personal relationships, providing objective measurement of professional capabilities that had never been directly compared. Maya looked forward to the presentation not as an opportunity for personal vindication, but as a professional evaluation that would demonstrate whether family assumptions about capability and potential corresponded with actual performance in demanding business environments. The outcome would provide clarity about relationships and professional trajectories that had been shaped by perceptions rather than measurable achievements. The upcoming meeting represented convergence of professional responsibilities and personal history, offering unique insight into the relationship between inherited confidence and developed competence in environments where strategic thinking and analytical capabilities determine success rather than social advantages or family positioning. Dr. Catherine Langford was not supposed to be in Maya's office that Wednesday afternoon. As the Chief Strategy Officer for Sterling & Associates, national operations and a former McKinsey partner with 2 decades of consulting experience, her schedule typically involved board meetings with Fortune 100 executives and strategic planning sessions that shaped the company's global expansion initiatives. Maya looked up from her quarterly performance reports when Dr. Langford appeared in her doorway, offering a brief knock before stepping into the office. The visit was unexpected but not unprecedented, as senior leadership occasionally conducted informal check-ins with regional directors to assess operations and identify emerging opportunities or challenges. "I apologize for the impromptu visit," Dr. Langford began, settling into one of the leather chairs positioned across from Maya's desk. "I was reviewing the Southwestern region's performance metrics and wanted to discuss some observations with you directly." Maya saved her work and gave Dr. Langford her complete attention, recognizing that conversations with the Chief Strategy Officer often provided insights into company direction and strategic priorities that were not available through routine management channels. Dr. Langford's reputation for analytical rigor and strategic thinking commanded respect throughout Sterling & Associates, where her recommendations frequently influenced major business decisions. "Your region has achieved remarkable results over the past year," Dr. Langford continued, consulting a tablet that contained detailed performance data. Client retention rates have improved by 37%, profit margins have exceeded company averages by 15%, and new business development has outperformed all other regions by substantial margins. Maya listened as Dr. Langford detailed specific metrics that demonstrated the Southwestern region's exceptional performance across multiple indicators. The data confirmed what Maya had observed through daily operations, but provided broader context about how her team's achievements compared with Sterling and Associates' national performance standards. These results represent more than operational efficiency, drive, Langford explained. They indicate strategic thinking and leadership capabilities that suggest significant potential for expanded responsibilities and influence within our organization. The conversation that followed revealed Dr. Langford's purpose for the visit. Sterling and Associates was planning a major expansion initiative that would establish consulting operations in 6 additional metropolitan markets over the next 2 years. The expansion required identification and development of senior leaders who could replicate successful operational models while adapting to diverse regional business environments. Dr. Langford had been tasked with evaluating potential candidates for executive positions that would oversee multi-regional operations and coordinate consulting services across expanded geographic territories. Maya's consistent performance and demonstrated leadership capabilities had placed her among the candidates being considered for these strategic roles. I want to understand your perspective on business development and client relationship management, Dr. Langford said. What factors do you believe contribute most significantly to sustained consulting success in competitive markets? Maya recognized the question as both an assessment of her strategic thinking and an opportunity to demonstrate analytical capabilities that extended beyond operational management. She considered her response carefully, drawing on 18 months of experience managing client relationships and observing patterns in successful consulting engagements. Sustained success requires understanding that consulting relationships are fundamentally about trust and measurable value creation. Maya began. Clients engage consultants to solve problems they cannot address independently, which means our recommendations must demonstrate both innovative thinking and practical implementation strategies. Maya elaborated on her approach to client development, explaining how she had built strong relationships by focusing on long-term value creation rather than short-term revenue generation. This philosophy had resulted in consulting engagements that extended beyond initial project scopes, generating referrals and repeat business that contributed substantially to regional revenue growth. Dr. Langford asked follow-up questions that explored Maya's understanding of industry trends, competitive dynamics, and strategic positioning within the broader consulting market. The discussion revealed sophisticated analysis and strategic thinking that impressed Dr. Langford, who had expected competence but discovered exceptional insight and business acumen. Your analytical approach aligns closely with the strategic thinking we need for expansion leadership, Dr. Langford observed. However, success at the executive level requires different capabilities than regional management. Are you prepared for responsibilities that would affect company-wide strategic decisions and national client relationships? Maya had been anticipating this question since Dr. Langford arrived, recognizing that their conversation was essentially an informal interview for executive advancement opportunities. She understood that demonstrating readiness for expanded responsibilities required honest assessment of her current capabilities, while expressing confidence in her ability to develop additional skills necessary for senior leadership roles. I believe my experience managing diverse client portfolios and coordinating complex consulting projects has prepared me for broader strategic responsibilities, Maya replied. However, I also recognize that executive leadership requires different skills and perspectives that I would need to develop through additional training and mentorship. Dr. Langford appreciated Maya's balanced response, which demonstrated both confidence and realistic self-assessment. Many professionals either underestimated the challenges of executive advancement or overestimated their readiness for senior responsibilities, creating difficulties during transition periods when new demands exceeded developed capabilities. The conversation shifted to Maya's long-term career objectives and interest in pursuing executive advancement within Sterling and Associates. Dr. Langford explained the company's approach to leadership development, which included structured mentorship programs, advanced training initiatives, and strategic project assignments designed to prepare high-potential professionals for senior roles. We have identified approximately 12 candidates across our national operations who demonstrate potential for executive advancement, Dr. Langford explained. The selection process will involve comprehensive evaluation of strategic thinking capabilities, leadership potential, and ability to manage complex business relationships under pressure. Maya expressed genuine interest in participating in the evaluation process, recognizing that executive advancement would represent both significant professional opportunity and substantial personal challenge. The responsibilities would extend far beyond regional management to include company-wide strategic planning, national client relationship oversight, and coordination of consulting services across multiple markets. Dr. Langford outlined the evaluation timeline, which would include strategic case study analysis, presentation to senior leadership, and comprehensive assessment of business judgment and decision-making capabilities. The process was designed to identify candidates who could maintain Sterling & Associates' performance standards while leading expansion into competitive new markets. The evaluation will be rigorous and comprehensive, Dr. Langford warned. We need leaders who can think strategically under pressure, manage complex stakeholder relationships, and make decisions that affect millions of dollars in revenue and hundreds of professional careers. Maya understood the magnitude of the opportunity and the challenges it would present. Executive advancement would require demonstrating capabilities that extended beyond her current experience while maintaining the performance standards that had earned recognition for advancement consideration. The meeting concluded with Dr. Langford providing Maya with preliminary materials related to the evaluation process, including strategic case studies and business scenarios that would require analysis and recommendation development. The materials were designed to assess analytical thinking, strategic planning capabilities, and understanding of complex business dynamics. I encourage you to approach this evaluation as both an assessment and a learning opportunity, Dr. Langford advised. Regardless of the outcome, the process will enhance your strategic thinking capabilities and provide valuable experience with executive-level decision-making. After Dr. Langford departed, Maya remained in her office reviewing the evaluation materials and considering the implications of potential executive advancement. The opportunity represented validation of her professional development and recognition of capabilities that had been systematically developed through consistent performance and strategic thinking. Maya understood that success in the evaluation process would demonstrate that professional achievement was possible through merit-based advancement, rather than inherited advantages or family connections. Her career trajectory at Sterling & Associates had been built through measurable results and strategic contributions rather than social positioning or external recommendations. The evaluation timeline would coincide with Victoria's upcoming presentation, creating parallel assessment processes where both sisters would face professional judgment based on demonstrated capabilities rather than assumed potential. Maya found the timing symbolically appropriate, as both evaluations would measure actual performance against established professional standards. Maya spent the remainder of the afternoon reviewing strategic case studies and developing analytical frameworks for approaching complex business scenarios. The materials required sophisticated understanding of industry dynamics, competitive analysis, and strategic planning processes that extended beyond routine consulting operations. The case studies involved multi-million-dollar business decisions, organizational restructuring challenges, and market expansion strategies that required integration of financial analysis, operational assessment, and strategic risk evaluation. Maya recognized that successful completion of these analyses would require capabilities that demonstrated readiness for executive-level responsibilities. As Maya worked through the preliminary materials, she reflected on the contrast between her current professional trajectory and family assumptions about her career potential. The evaluation process represented opportunities that her family could not have imagined when they characterized her as someone destined for supporting roles rather than leadership positions. The irony was not lost on Maya that she was being evaluated for executive advancement at the same time Victoria was preparing to present marketing proposals that would require Maya's approval as regional director. The convergence demonstrated how dramatically professional circumstances could diverge from family expectations when advancement was based on performance rather than predetermined assumptions about capabilities. Maya understood that the upcoming evaluation would provide definitive evidence of whether her systematic approach to professional development had prepared her for senior leadership responsibilities. The outcome would be determined by analytical capabilities, strategic thinking, and business judgment, rather than family relationships or inherited advantages. The evaluation process would also demonstrate whether quiet competence and consistent performance could compete effectively with more visible leadership styles that emphasized confidence and persuasive communication over analytical depth and strategic planning capabilities. Maya prepared to dedicate her evenings and weekends to evaluation preparation, recognizing that executive advancement would require demonstrating exceptional capabilities that exceeded minimum qualification standards. The opportunity represented potential for influence and impact that extended far beyond regional operations to affect company-wide strategic direction and national client relationships. The preparation process would occur simultaneously with her review of Victoria's marketing proposal, creating parallel assessment activities where Maya would evaluate both her own readiness for executive advancement and her sister's capabilities for strategic business development. Both evaluations would be conducted according to objective professional standards rather than personal relationships or family dynamics. Maya looked forward to both challenges as opportunities to demonstrate capabilities that had been developed through systematic professional growth, rather than assumed based on inherited characteristics or family positioning. The evaluations would provide measurable outcomes that would clarify questions about professional potential that had remained unanswered throughout their family relationship. As evening approached, Maya gathered the evaluation materials and prepared to begin intensive preparation for what could become the most significant professional opportunity of her career. The process would require capabilities that extended beyond her current experience while building on the analytical foundation and strategic thinking skills that had been systematically developed through 18 months of consistent performance excellence at Sterling and Associates. The boardroom at Hartwell Marketing buzzed with controlled tension as Victoria Chen reviewed her presentation materials for the final time. The Sterling and Associates proposal represented the most significant opportunity of her career, with potential contract value exceeding $2 million over 18 months. Success would establish her reputation as a strategic account manager capable of securing major corporate clients, while failure would raise questions about her ability to compete for premium business opportunities. Victoria had spent 3 weeks preparing for this presentation, developing creative concepts and strategic positioning that she believed would distinguish Hartwell Marketing from competing agencies. Her approach emphasized innovative digital marketing strategies combined with traditional brand development techniques, designed to deliver measurable results that justified premium pricing structures. The presentation team included Victoria as lead account manager, creative director James Sullivan, and senior strategist Rebecca Martinez. Each team member brought specialized expertise that contributed to a comprehensive marketing proposal addressing Sterling and Associates' complex business development requirements across multiple market segments. Victoria understood that Sterling and Associates maintained exceptionally high standards for vendor partnerships, working exclusively with agencies that demonstrated strategic thinking capabilities and proven track records of delivering measurable business results. The regional director's reputation for demanding excellence created additional pressure, as their evaluation would determine whether Hartwell Marketing earned consideration for future Sterling and Associates engagements. The morning of the presentation, Victoria arrived at her office 2 hours early to conduct final preparation sessions with her team. They reviewed strategic positioning arguments, anticipated potential questions from Sterling and Associates executives, and rehearsed presentation segments to ensure smooth coordination between different components of their proposal. Victoria felt confident about their creative approach and strategic analysis, believing that their comprehensive research into Sterling and Associates' business environment had enabled development of marketing strategies that would resonate with their target objectives. The proposal demonstrated thorough understanding of competitive dynamics and client acquisition challenges facing management consulting firms in expanding markets. At 10:30, Victoria and her team departed for Sterling and Associates headquarters, allowing sufficient time for setup and final preparation before their scheduled 11:30 presentation. The drive provided opportunity for last-minute strategy discussion and confidence building, as team members expressed optimism about their proposal's competitive positioning. Sterling and Associates occupied a prominent position in the city's financial district, with their headquarters building representing the type of corporate success that Hartwell Marketing aspired to serve through strategic consulting relationships. The lobby featured contemporary design elements and professional artwork that conveyed competence and stability, characteristics that Victoria hoped to emphasize in their marketing approach. Security personnel directed the Hartwell team to the 23rd floor, where they were greeted by Sterling and Associates, executive conference facilities. The presentation room featured state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment and seating arrangements designed for professional business discussions involving senior decision-makers and strategic planning sessions. Victoria was informed that the regional director would join the presentation at 11:30 sharp, accompanied by 2 senior consultants who would participate in the evaluation process. The advance notice provided opportunity for technical setup and final preparation, though Victoria noted increased nervousness as the presentation time approached. At precisely 11:30, the conference room door opened to admit 3 Sterling and Associates executives. Victoria rose to greet them professionally, extending her hand toward the first person entering the room while introducing herself as Hartwell Marketing's lead account manager for this engagement. The moment of recognition occurred simultaneously for both sisters. Victoria's confident smile faltered as she realized that the regional director she had been preparing to impress was Maya, the sister she had dismissed as lacking leadership potential during their recent family dinner conversation. Maya maintained perfect professional composure despite the unexpected personal connection, acknowledging Victoria's introduction with the same courtesy she would extend to any potential vendor. Victoria struggled to process this revelation while maintaining professional appearance in front of her team and the other Sterling and Associates executives. The sister she had characterized as just the help now held decision-making authority that would determine the success or failure of Victoria's most important career opportunity. Maya introduced herself to the Hartwell team using her full professional title and credentials, making clear that she possessed ultimate approval authority for marketing vendor selection. Her introduction revealed educational background and professional experience that contrasted sharply with family assumptions about her career trajectory and capabilities. The presentation proceeded according to schedule, with Victoria attempting to regain her composure while delivering strategic positioning arguments she had prepared over the previous 3 weeks. Her natural confidence had been undermined by the shock of discovering Maya's actual professional status, creating visible tension that affected her typical presentation style. James Sullivan delivered the creative strategy segment with enthusiasm and technical expertise, presenting innovative digital marketing approaches that demonstrated Hartwell's capabilities in contemporary brand development. His presentation maintained professional quality despite the underlying tension that had affected team dynamics since Maya's introduction. Rebecca Martinez presented competitive analysis and market positioning strategies that showed thorough research into Sterling and Associates, business environment, and client acquisition challenges. Her strategic recommendations addressed specific obstacles facing consulting firms while proposing measurable solutions that justified marketing investment. Throughout the presentation, Maya asked pointed questions that revealed sophisticated understanding of marketing strategy and business development principles. Her inquiries focused on implementation details, performance measurement systems, and strategic alignment between proposed marketing activities and Sterling and Associates' broader business objectives. Victoria found herself struggling to answer Maya's questions with the confidence she typically displayed during client presentations. The personal relationship created unexpected complications that interfered with her professional performance, while Maya's evident expertise challenged assumptions Victoria had maintained about her sister's analytical capabilities. The presentation concluded after 45 minutes of detailed discussion covering creative concepts, strategic positioning, budget allocation, and implementation timelines. Maya thanked the Hartwell team for their preparation and indicated that Sterling and Associates would complete their vendor evaluation process within 1 week of reviewing all competing proposals. Victoria requested a brief private conversation with Maya following the formal presentation, hoping to address the personal dimension of their professional encounter. Maya agreed to a 5-minute discussion while her colleagues prepared materials for their next meeting, understanding that some acknowledgement of their family relationship was necessary for future professional interactions. The private conversation occurred in Maya's office, where Victoria could observe professional credentials and recognition awards that demonstrated her sister's actual career achievements. The environment contrasted sharply with family assumptions about Maya's professional status. and provided tangible evidence of capabilities that had been systematically underestimated. Victoria began with an apology for her dismissive comments during their recent family dinner, acknowledging that she had not understood Maya's actual professional position or responsibilities. The apology reflected genuine surprise rather than calculated damage control, as Victoria processed the implications of her sister's executive authority and decision-making influence. Maya accepted the apology graciously while making clear that their family relationship would not influence her evaluation of Hartwell Marketing's proposal. She explained that vendor selection would be based entirely on strategic merit, competitive positioning, and potential for delivering measurable business results that justified investment costs. The conversation revealed Maya's perspective on professional advancement and family dynamics, explaining why she had not shared information about her career progression with relatives who demonstrated limited interest in her professional activities. Maya had learned to value recognition earned through performance rather than granted through family relationships. Victoria expressed shock at discovering Maya's executive position and advanced education, realizing that her assumptions about her sister's capabilities had been fundamentally incorrect. The revelation forced reconsideration of family dynamics and professional hierarchies that Victoria had never questioned previously. Maya explained that her career development had been intentionally private, allowing her to focus on performance improvement rather than managing family expectations or defending career decisions to relatives who might not understand the consulting industry's requirements and advancement opportunities. The discussion concluded with mutual agreement to maintain professional boundaries during the vendor evaluation process, while acknowledging that their family relationship would inevitably be affected by this revelation of Maya's actual career status and decision-making authority. Victoria returned to her team with visible emotional strain, struggling to process the implications of discovering that her professional success now depended on approval from the sister she had consistently underestimated and dismissed. The team noticed her changed demeanor, but attributed it to post-presentation stress rather than personal complications. During the drive back to Hartwell Marketing, Victoria remained unusually quiet, while her colleagues discussed their assessment of the presentation's reception and competitive positioning relative to other agencies pursuing the Sterling and Associates contract. Their optimism contrasted with Victoria's growing uncertainty about the evaluation outcome. Victoria spent the remainder of the day reviewing her presentation performance and considering whether family relationships might negatively influence Maya's assessment of Hartwell Marketing's strategic capabilities. She worried that personal history could compromise objective evaluation, though Maya's professional demeanor suggested commitment to merit-based decision-making. The evening brought opportunity for reflection on family assumptions and professional realities that had been revealed through the day's unexpected encounter. Victoria realized that her dismissive attitude toward Maya had been based on incomplete information and inherited family dynamics rather than accurate assessment of capabilities and achievements. Victoria understood that the presentation had represented more than a business opportunity evaluation, serving as a direct test of professional capabilities under circumstances where family assumptions were confronted with measurable performance standards. The outcome would demonstrate whether her confidence was justified by strategic thinking and business development skills. The waiting period for Sterling and Associates' vendor selection decision would provide time for Victoria to process the revelation of Maya's executive position and consider implications for their family relationship and professional interactions. The experience had challenged fundamental assumptions about capability, success, and professional advancement that had shaped their sibling dynamics since childhood. Victoria faced the uncomfortable realization that her sister possessed strategic thinking capabilities, educational credentials, and professional authority that exceeded her own achievements, despite being consistently characterized as the less ambitious and capable sibling. The discovery forced reconsideration of family narratives and professional hierarchies that Victoria had never questioned previously. Maya Chen arrived at her office the morning after Victoria's presentation, with a heightened awareness that her professional decisions would now carry personal implications that extended beyond routine business evaluations. The Hartwell Marketing proposal required the same rigorous analysis applied to all vendor assessments, but the family dimension added complexity that demanded careful consideration of professional boundaries and ethical obligations. The evaluation process for Sterling and Associates marketing partnerships typically involved comprehensive analysis of strategic positioning, creative capabilities, implementation timelines, budget efficiency, and vendor reliability. Maya had developed systematic frameworks for assessing these factors objectively, ensuring that selection decisions were based on measurable criteria rather than subjective preferences or external influences. Maya began her assessment by reviewing Hartwell Marketing's proposal alongside submissions from 3 competing agencies, each offering different approaches to Sterling and Associates' business development challenges. The comparison would identify which vendor provided optimal strategic value while meeting budget constraints and implementation requirements. Hartwell's proposal demonstrated competent understanding of marketing fundamentals and presented creative concepts that showed professional execution. However, the strategic analysis lacked depth in several critical areas, particularly regarding competitive differentiation and target market segmentation for consulting services. The recommendations appeared generic rather than customized for Sterling and Associates' unique market position and client acquisition challenges. Maya noted that Victoria's presentation had been professionally delivered, but revealed limited understanding of the consulting industry's complex sales cycles and relationship-building requirements. The marketing strategies emphasized broad-reach approaches rather than targeted relationship development with decision-makers at potential client organizations. 2 competing agencies presented more sophisticated strategic analyses that demonstrated deeper understanding of business-to-business marketing principles and consulting industry dynamics. Their proposals included detailed competitive assessments, targeted client acquisition strategies, and performance measurement systems that aligned more closely with Sterling and Associates' business objectives. Maya understood that her evaluation would be scrutinized by senior leadership and potentially reviewed by Dr. Langford as part of her executive advancement assessment. The selection decision must demonstrate sound business judgment and strategic thinking rather than personal considerations or family relationship factors. The evaluation process coincided with Maya's preparation for the executive advancement assessment that Dr. Langford had outlined during their recent meeting. The strategic case studies required sophisticated analysis of complex business scenarios involving multi-million-dollar decisions and organizational restructuring challenges. Maya dedicated her evening hours to developing comprehensive responses to the case study materials, recognizing that successful completion would require demonstrating capabilities that extended beyond regional management to encompass strategic planning and executive decision-making. The analysis demanded integration of financial modeling, competitive assessment, and operational planning across multiple business scenarios. The first case study involved evaluating acquisition opportunities for a consulting firm seeking to expand into new geographic markets, while maintaining service quality and client relationship standards. Maya approached the analysis systematically, examining financial projections, market conditions, operational requirements, and strategic risks associated with each potential acquisition target. Her analysis identified key success factors, including cultural compatibility between organizations, complementary service capabilities, geographic market characteristics, and financial stability of acquisition targets. The evaluation framework Maya developed could be applied to similar strategic decisions facing Sterling and Associates as they pursued expansion initiatives. The second case study required developing turnaround strategies for a consulting firm experiencing declining profitability due to competitive pressures and changing client demands. Maya analyzed organizational inefficiencies, market positioning challenges, and operational cost structures to identify improvement opportunities. Her recommendations addressed both immediate financial stabilization measures and long-term strategic repositioning initiatives. The turnaround plan emphasized client relationship strengthening, service offering enhancement, and operational efficiency improvements that would restore profitability while maintaining competitive positioning. Maya recognized that these case study analyses would demonstrate her readiness for executive responsibilities that affected company-wide strategic direction rather than regional operations. The quality of her strategic thinking and analytical approach would influence Dr. Langford's assessment of her potential for senior leadership advancement. The parallel evaluation processes created interesting dynamics, where Maya simultaneously assessed external vendor capabilities while being evaluated for internal advancement opportunities. Both processes required demonstrating analytical skills, strategic thinking, and business judgment that would affect significant organizational decisions and financial outcomes. Maya understood that successful completion of both evaluations would validate her systematic approach to professional development and confirm that merit-based advancement was achievable through consistent performance excellence. The outcomes would provide definitive evidence regarding her strategic capabilities and leadership potential. During her lunch break, Maya received an unexpected call from Dr. Langford requesting a brief meeting to discuss preliminary observations about her executive assessment performance. The meeting was scheduled for later that afternoon, suggesting that Maya's case study analyses had generated sufficient interest to warrant immediate discussion rather than routine evaluation processing. Maya spent the afternoon completing her analysis of the Hartwell marketing proposal while preparing for her meeting with Dr. Langford. The vendor evaluation required final documentation of her assessment criteria and selection recommendations that would be reviewed by Sterling & Associates Procurement Committee. Her evaluation concluded that Hartwell Marketing's proposal demonstrated competent execution but lacked strategic sophistication compared with competing submissions. The recommendation would be to decline their proposal while providing constructive feedback that could inform future submissions if market conditions changed or their strategic capabilities improved. Maya understood that this decision would disappoint Victoria and potentially create family relationship challenges. However, professional integrity required selection of the vendor that provided optimal value for Sterling & Associates, rather than consideration of personal relationships or family dynamics. The meeting with Dr. Langford occurred in her executive office, which featured panoramic city views and professional furnishings that reflected her senior leadership position within Sterling & Associates' organizational hierarchy. The environment conveyed authority and strategic responsibility that Maya aspired to achieve through successful completion of the advancement evaluation process. Your case study analyses demonstrate exceptional strategic thinking and analytical depth, Dr. Langford began, reviewing materials that Maya had submitted earlier that week. The frameworks you developed show sophistication that typically requires years of executive experience to develop. Maya listened as Dr. Langford detailed specific aspects of her analysis that had impressed the evaluation committee, including innovative approaches to competitive assessment, comprehensive risk evaluation methodologies, and strategic recommendations that addressed both immediate challenges and long-term organizational development. We are particularly impressed by your ability to integrate multiple analytical perspectives while maintaining focus on measurable outcomes. Dr. Langford continued. This combination of analytical rigor and practical implementation focus represents exactly the strategic thinking we need for expansion leadership roles. The feedback exceeded Maya's expectations and provided confidence that her systematic approach to professional development had prepared her effectively for executive advancement opportunities. Dr. Langford's assessment validated her analytical capabilities and strategic thinking while identifying areas for continued development. Dr. Langford explained that Maya had been selected as one of 3 finalists for the Executive Advancement Program, which would involve additional assessments including presentations to senior leadership and comprehensive evaluation of management capabilities under pressure. The final selection would occur within 4 weeks following completion of all evaluation components. The advancement process will require demonstrating leadership capabilities under challenging circumstances, Dr. Langford warned. We need executives who can make difficult decisions, manage complex stakeholder relationships, and maintain organizational performance during periods of significant change and uncertainty. Maya expressed continued interest in pursuing executive advancement while acknowledging the increased responsibilities and challenges that senior leadership positions would require. She understood that success would demand capabilities that extended beyond analytical skills to encompass relationship management, organizational leadership, and strategic communication. The meeting concluded with Dr. Langford providing additional evaluation materials that would assess Maya's approach to organizational leadership and change management. The materials included scenarios involving employee relations challenges, client relationship difficulties, and strategic decision-making under pressure. After Dr. Langford departed, Maya reflected on the convergence of professional opportunities and personal relationships that would define the next several weeks of her career development. The executive advancement process would occur simultaneously, with the vendor's selection decision that would affect Victoria's professional trajectory and their family relationship dynamics. Maya understood that both decisions required maintaining professional integrity and objective judgment, despite personal implications and family relationship considerations. The outcomes would demonstrate whether systematic professional development and merit-based advancement could withstand pressures from external relationships and emotional considerations. The remainder of the afternoon involved completing administrative responsibilities and preparing for evening work sessions dedicated to executive assessment preparation. Maya had developed efficient time management systems that enabled her to balance routine operational duties with strategic development activities that supported her advancement objectives. Maya recognized that the next 4 weeks would determine both her professional trajectory and the family relationship dynamics that had been shaped by assumptions about capability and potential since childhood. The evaluation processes would provide objective measurements of strategic thinking and leadership capabilities that had been systematically developed through consistent performance excellence. The opportunity for executive advancement represented validation of Maya's approach to professional development, while creating platform for expanded influence and impact within Sterling & Associates' strategic direction. Success would demonstrate that quiet competence and analytical depth could compete effectively with more visible leadership styles in environments where results determined advancement opportunities. Maya prepared for intensive preparation sessions that would require demonstrating capabilities at levels that exceeded her current experience, while building on analytical foundations and strategic thinking skills that had been consistently recognized through merit-based advancement within Sterling & Associates' organizational structure. The parallel evaluation processes would provide definitive answers about professional capabilities and leadership potential, while establishing precedents for decision-making under pressure that would affect both organizational outcomes and personal relationships. Maya approached these challenges with confidence based on systematic preparation and proven performance, rather than assumptions about inherited advantages or family positioning. The Sterling & Associates executive conference room filled with subdued morning light, as Maya Chen prepared for what would become the most significant professional presentation of her career. Dr. Catherine Langford had scheduled the final executive advancement evaluation for 9 o'clock sharp, with the full senior leadership team present to assess Maya's readiness for promotion to Vice President of Strategic Operations. Maya arrived 30 minutes early to review her presentation materials and conduct final equipment checks. The conference room featured floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the financial district, with a polished mahogany table surrounded by leather chairs that would soon be occupied by the 5 executives who would determine her professional trajectory. The presentation would cover 3 strategic case studies that Maya had analyzed over the past month, each requiring comprehensive business assessment and detailed implementation recommendations. The case studies involved scenarios that reflected real challenges facing Sterling & Associates, including market expansion strategies, competitive positioning decisions, and organizational restructuring initiatives. Maya understood that this presentation represented the culmination of 18 months of systematic professional development at Sterling & Associates. The evaluation would determine whether her analytical capabilities and strategic thinking had developed sufficiently to warrant executive advancement and increased organizational responsibility. At precisely 9 o'clock, the senior leadership team entered the conference room with the purposeful efficiency that characterized Sterling & Associates' executive culture. Dr. Langford led the group, followed by CEO Robert Sterling, Chief Financial Officer Amanda Rodriguez, Operations Director Michael Thompson, and Client Relations Director Sarah Kim. Maya rose to greet each executive professionally, recognizing that this group represented approximately 100 years of combined consulting experience and strategic leadership. Their assessment would be based on rigorous evaluation criteria that had been refined through decades of executive selection and organizational development. CEO Sterling opened the session by explaining the evaluation framework and expectations for executive advancement within Sterling & Associates. The presentation would be followed by detailed questions designed to assess Maya's strategic thinking capabilities, leadership potential, and ability to manage complex organizational challenges under pressure. Maya began her presentation with the first case study, which involved developing market entry strategies for Sterling & Associates' expansion into the Pacific Northwest region. The analysis required comprehensive evaluation of competitive conditions, client acquisition opportunities, operational requirements, and financial projections for establishing sustainable consulting operations. Her approach demonstrated sophisticated understanding of market dynamics and strategic planning principles. Maya had developed detailed competitive assessments that identified key rivals, analyzed their service offerings and pricing structures, and determined optimal positioning strategies for Sterling and Associates' entry into established markets. The financial modeling component revealed Maya's analytical depth and business acumen. She had constructed comprehensive revenue projections based on realistic client acquisition timelines, evaluated operational cost structures for different expansion approaches, and developed risk assessment frameworks that quantified potential challenges and mitigation strategies. Dr. Langford asked probing questions about Maya's market analysis methodology and competitive intelligence sources. The inquiries revealed the thoroughness of Maya's research and her ability to synthesize information from multiple sources into coherent strategic recommendations that addressed both opportunities and potential obstacles. CFO Rodriguez focused on the financial projections and budget allocation strategies that Maya had developed for the market expansion initiative. Her questions explored assumptions underlying the financial models and tested Maya's understanding of cost management principles for consulting operations in competitive environments. Maya responded to each inquiry with detailed explanations that demonstrated both analytical rigor and practical understanding of business operations. Her answers revealed sophisticated grasp of financial planning principles and strategic resource allocation that impressed the evaluation committee. The second case study involved organizational restructuring recommendations for improving operational efficiency while maintaining service quality standards. Maya had analyzed Sterling and Associates' current organizational structure and identified opportunities for process improvement that would reduce costs while enhancing client satisfaction. Her restructuring proposal included specific recommendations for streamlining administrative processes, optimizing consultant utilization rates, and implementing technology solutions that would automate routine tasks while enabling consultants to focus on high-value strategic activities. Operations Director Thompson questioned Maya's understanding of change management principles and her approach to implementing organizational modifications without disrupting existing client relationships. His inquiries tested her appreciation for the human dynamics involved in structural changes and her ability to manage transition processes effectively. Maya's responses demonstrated mature understanding of organizational psychology and change implementation strategies. She had developed comprehensive communication plans and stakeholder engagement processes that would minimize disruption while ensuring successful adoption of recommended changes. The third case study presented the most complex challenge, requiring Maya to develop crisis management strategies for a hypothetical scenario involving major client relationship difficulties and potential contract cancellations. The case study tested her ability to analyze multifaceted problems and develop solutions under extreme pressure. Maya's crisis management approach emphasized immediate stabilization measures combined with long-term relationship rebuilding strategies. Her analysis identified root causes of client dissatisfaction and developed systematic responses that addressed both immediate concerns and underlying organizational issues. Client Relations Director Kim evaluated Maya's customer relationship management strategies and questioned her understanding of client psychology in crisis situations. The discussion revealed Maya's sophisticated appreciation for the emotional and business factors that influence client decision-making during difficult periods. Maya demonstrated exceptional composure throughout the questioning process, maintaining professional demeanor while providing detailed explanations that revealed both analytical depth and practical wisdom. Her responses showed integration of theoretical knowledge with real-world experience that impressed the evaluation committee. The presentation concluded after 90 minutes of detailed discussion covering strategic planning methodologies, financial analysis techniques, organizational management principles, and crisis resolution strategies. Maya had successfully demonstrated capabilities that extended well beyond regional operations to encompass enterprise-level strategic thinking. CEO Sterling thanked Maya for her comprehensive presentation and indicated that the evaluation committee would complete their deliberations within 48 hours. The timing would allow thorough review of her performance while providing prompt feedback regarding advancement decisions. Following the presentation, Maya returned to her office with a sense of professional accomplishment tempered by awareness that the evaluation outcome remained uncertain. She had performed to the best of her abilities while demonstrating strategic thinking capabilities developed through systematic professional growth. The afternoon brought routine operational responsibilities that provided welcome distraction from advancement evaluation concerns. Maya reviewed client project status reports, coordinated consulting team assignments, and addressed administrative matters that required regional director attention. At 3 o'clock, Maya received an unexpected call from Victoria, requesting an urgent meeting to discuss the vendor selection decision for Sterling and Associates, marketing engagement. Victoria's tone conveyed anxiety about the evaluation outcome and desire for preliminary feedback before official announcements were made. Maya agreed to meet Victoria at a neutral location away from both Sterling and Associates and Hartwell marketing offices. The conversation would provide opportunity to address family relationship implications while maintaining professional boundaries regarding business decisions that affected both organizations. The meeting occurred at a quiet coffee shop in the downtown business district, selected for privacy that would enable candid discussion without professional surveillance or family interference. Maya arrived first and selected a corner table that would provide confidential conversation space. Victoria appeared visibly stressed as she approached Maya's table, carrying herself with uncharacteristic uncertainty rather than the confident demeanor that typically defined her professional interactions. The contrast revealed how significantly the vendor evaluation had affected her emotional equilibrium and professional confidence. The conversation began with Victoria expressing appreciation for Maya's professional handling of their unexpected family connection during the presentation process. She acknowledged that the revelation of Maya's executive position had challenged fundamental assumptions about family dynamics and professional hierarchies. Victoria then inquired directly about Hartwell Marketing's prospects for securing the Sterling and Associates contract. Her request for preliminary feedback revealed genuine concern about the evaluation outcome and its implications for her career advancement within the advertising agency. Maya explained that she could not provide specific feedback about ongoing evaluation processes, but confirmed that all vendor proposals would be assessed according to identical criteria focused on strategic value and implementation capabilities. The selection would be announced through official procurement channels within the established timeline. The conversation expanded to address broader family relationship implications resulting from Maya's revealed professional status. Victoria admitted that she had consistently underestimated Maya's capabilities and achievements, operating under assumptions that had been shaped by childhood dynamics rather than adult professional realities. Maya responded with understanding rather than resentment, explaining that she had chosen to maintain privacy about her career progression to focus on performance improvement, rather than managing family expectations or defending career decisions to relatives who might not appreciate consulting industry requirements. Victoria expressed regret about her dismissive comments during their recent family dinner, and acknowledged that her characterization of Maya as just the help had been both inaccurate and hurtful. The apology represented genuine recognition of professional capabilities that had been systematically overlooked. The discussion revealed that both sisters had been operating under incomplete information about each other's professional trajectories and personal development. Victoria had focused on visible career achievements while overlooking Maya's systematic skill development and strategic thinking capabilities. Maya had similarly underestimated Victoria's genuine professional competence while focusing on her family behavior patterns, rather than recognizing legitimate achievements in advertising and client relationship management. Both sisters had allowed childhood dynamics to influence their adult professional assessments. The conversation concluded with mutual agreement to rebuild their relationship based on current professional realities rather than historical family patterns. Both sisters committed to supporting each other's career development while maintaining appropriate boundaries between family relationships and business decisions. Victoria departed with improved understanding of Maya's professional journey and realistic expectations about the vendor selection process. Maya remained at the coffee shop to process the conversation and consider implications for family dynamics that would inevitably change regardless of specific business outcomes. The evening provided opportunity for reflection on the convergence of professional evaluation and family relationship dynamics that had defined the past month of Maya's career development. The executive advancement evaluation and vendor selection decision would be determined by objective professional criteria rather than personal relationships. Maya understood that successful completion of both processes would validate her systematic approach to professional development, while establishing new frameworks for family interactions based on mutual respect rather than inherited assumptions about capability and potential. The outcomes would demonstrate whether consistent performance excellence and strategic thinking could overcome established relationship patterns and create opportunities for authentic professional recognition within family structures that had historically emphasized different achievement models. Maya prepared for intensive waiting periods during which evaluation committees would determine both her advancement prospects and the vendor selection results that would affect Victoria's career trajectory. Both decisions represented objective measurements of professional capabilities that had been developed through different approaches but would be assessed according to similar standards of strategic thinking and business acumen. The call from Dr. Catherine Langford arrived at precisely 8:30 Friday morning, exactly 48 hours after Maya Chen had completed her executive advancement presentation to Sterling & Associates' senior leadership team. Maya answered on the second ring, maintaining professional composure, despite her heightened awareness that this conversation would determine her career trajectory for the foreseeable future. Maya, I am pleased to inform you that the evaluation committee has unanimously selected you for promotion to Vice President of Strategic Operations, Dr. Langford announced without preliminary conversation. Your presentation demonstrated exceptional strategic thinking capabilities and analytical depth that convinced the entire leadership team of your readiness for executive responsibility. Maya felt a surge of professional satisfaction that validated 18 months of systematic career development and strategic skill building. The promotion represented recognition of capabilities that had been developed through consistent performance excellence rather than inherited advantages or family connections, confirming her belief that merit-based advancement remained achievable in competitive corporate environments. Dr. Langford continued with details about Maya's new responsibilities, which would include oversight of Sterling & Associates, expansion initiatives across 6 new metropolitan markets over the next 2 years. The position involved managing consulting operations worth approximately $75 million annually, while coordinating strategic development for the company's national growth objectives. The role will require immediate relocation to our Chicago headquarters, Dr. Langford explained, where you will work directly with our national leadership team to implement expansion strategies and establish operational frameworks for new regional offices. Maya accepted the promotion and relocation requirements without hesitation, recognizing that executive advancement often required geographical flexibility and willingness to embrace expanded responsibilities that extended beyond familiar operational territories. The Chicago position would provide access to strategic decision-making processes and national client relationships that would accelerate her professional development significantly. The conversation concluded with Dr. Langford scheduling a comprehensive briefing session for the following Monday, during which Maya would receive detailed information about her new responsibilities, strategic priorities, and integration timeline with Sterling & Associates, National Operations Team. After ending the call, Maya remained in her office for several minutes, processing the magnitude of this career advancement and its implications for her professional trajectory. The promotion validated her systematic approach to skill development, while creating opportunities for influence and impact that exceeded her previous aspirations. Maya understood that the executive advancement would inevitably affect family dynamics and relationships that had been shaped by assumptions about her professional potential and career limitations. The promotion to Vice President of Strategic Operations would make her professional success undeniably visible to relatives who had consistently underestimated her capabilities. The timing of the promotion announcement coincided with Maya's responsibility for completing the vendor selection process for Sterling & Associates' marketing engagement. The decision would be announced later that morning, affecting Victoria's career prospects and potentially influencing family relationships that were already being redefined by Maya's revealed professional status. Maya reviewed the comprehensive evaluation of all marketing proposals one final time, confirming her assessment that Hartwell Marketing's submission demonstrated competent execution but lacked strategic sophistication compared with competing agencies. The selection decision would be communicated through official procurement channels to maintain professional standards and objective evaluation processes. At 10 o'clock, Maya participated in a conference call with Sterling & Associates' procurement committee to announce the vendor selection results. The committee had reviewed her evaluation analysis and agreed with her recommendation to select Morrison Strategic Communications, an agency whose proposal demonstrated superior strategic thinking and innovative approaches to business development marketing. The formal vendor notification process began immediately following the committee meeting, with official letters sent to all participating agencies explaining the selection rationale and providing constructive feedback for future proposal submissions. Maya ensured that Hartwell Marketing received detailed feedback that could inform their strategic development and improve their competitive positioning for future opportunities. Maya understood that Victoria would be disappointed by the selection outcome, but hoped that the professional feedback would demonstrate that the evaluation had been conducted according to objective business criteria, rather than personal considerations. The decision represented commitment to Sterling and Associates' interests while maintaining ethical standards and professional integrity. The afternoon brought a series of congratulatory meetings with colleagues and subordinates who had learned about Maya's promotion through internal communication channels. The recognition felt gratifying, but also emphasized the increased expectations and responsibilities that would accompany her executive advancement. Regional Operations Manager Patricia Williams, Maya's immediate supervisor for the past year, expressed particular satisfaction with the promotion outcome. She had recommended Maya for executive advancement based on consistent performance excellence and strategic thinking capabilities that had contributed substantially to the Southwestern region's success. Your promotion represents validation of the systematic approach you have taken to professional development, Patricia observed during their private meeting. You have demonstrated that analytical depth and strategic thinking can compete effectively with more visible leadership styles in environments where results determine advancement opportunities. Maya's consulting team organized an impromptu celebration, recognizing her advancement and acknowledging the leadership she had provided during her tenure as regional director. The team members expressed appreciation for her collaborative management style and professional development support that had enhanced their individual capabilities and collective performance. The recognition from colleagues and subordinates provided additional validation of Maya's leadership approach and its effectiveness in creating positive organizational outcomes. The feedback confirmed that her systematic methodology and analytical focus had generated measurable results while building team capabilities and professional satisfaction. During the late afternoon, Maya received the expected call from Victoria requesting a meeting to discuss the vendor selection outcome and its implications for their professional and family relationships. Victoria's tone conveyed disappointment, tempered by professional acceptance of the business decision that had affected her career prospects. They arranged to meet at the same downtown coffee shop where they had previously discussed family relationship dynamics and professional boundary considerations. The neutral location would enable candid conversation about the selection outcome while maintaining appropriate distance from both organizations. Operational environments. Maya arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes early to prepare for a conversation that would address both immediate disappointment and longer-term relationship implications. She understood that Victoria's reaction to the vendor selection would influence their family dynamics and determine whether their relationship could evolve beyond historical patterns of competition and misunderstanding. Victoria entered the coffee shop with visible emotional strain, but maintained professional composure as she approached Maya's table. Her demeanor suggested preparation for difficult news while hoping for explanations that might provide perspective on the decision-making process and future opportunity possibilities. The conversation began with Maya expressing genuine regret about the selection outcome, while emphasizing that the evaluation had been conducted according to identical criteria applied to all participating agencies. The decision reflected strategic considerations rather than personal judgments about Victoria's capabilities or professional potential. Victoria accepted the explanation graciously, while acknowledging that the selection process had provided valuable learning experiences about consulting industry requirements and strategic marketing approaches. She expressed appreciation for the detailed feedback that Sterling and Associates had provided through the official notification process. The evaluation revealed gaps in my understanding of business-to-business marketing principles, Victoria admitted with characteristic honesty. The feedback will be invaluable for developing more sophisticated strategic approaches that align with consulting industry requirements. Maya was impressed by Victoria's mature response to professional disappointment and her commitment to learning from the evaluation experience, rather than allowing frustration to undermine future development opportunities. The reaction demonstrated professional growth that had not been evident in their previous family interactions. The conversation expanded to address Maya's promotion announcement and its implications for family relationship dynamics. Victoria expressed genuine congratulations while acknowledging that the advancement challenged fundamental assumptions she had maintained about Maya's professional trajectory and capabilities. "I realize that I have consistently underestimated your strategic thinking abilities and analytical capabilities," Victoria said with evident sincerity. "Your promotion to vice president demonstrates achievements that far exceed anything I have accomplished in my own career." Maya appreciated Victoria's acknowledgement, while emphasizing that their professional paths had developed in different directions rather than competitive hierarchies. Each sister had pursued advancement opportunities that aligned with their individual strengths and interests, resulting in distinct but equally valid career trajectories. Victoria inquired about Maya's relocation to Chicago and the expanded responsibilities that would accompany her executive advancement. Her questions demonstrated genuine interest in Maya's professional development, rather than competitive comparison or family positioning considerations. Maya explained that the vice president role would involve strategic oversight of national expansion initiatives and coordination of consulting operations across multiple metropolitan markets. The responsibilities would require analytical capabilities and leadership skills that had been systematically developed through her progression within Sterling and Associates' organizational structure. The discussion concluded with both sisters expressing commitment to rebuilding their relationship based on mutual respect and professional recognition, rather than historical family dynamics and inherited assumptions about capability and potential. Victoria acknowledged that Maya's systematic approach to career development had achieved results that deserved recognition and celebration. Maya offered to provide professional guidance and industry insights that might assist Victoria's continued development in marketing and client relationship management. The offer represented genuine desire to support Victoria's career advancement, while maintaining appropriate boundaries between family relationships and professional obligations. Victoria accepted the offer enthusiastically, recognizing that Maya's consulting industry experience and strategic thinking expertise could provide valuable perspectives for her own professional growth. The exchange represented transformation from competitive family dynamics to collaborative relationship building based on mutual support and shared professional interests. As their meeting concluded, Maya reflected on the significant changes that had occurred over the past month in both her professional trajectory and family relationships. The executive advancement validated her systematic approach to career development while creating opportunities for expanded influence and impact within Sterling and Associates' strategic direction. The vendor selection process had demonstrated professional integrity and objective decision-making while providing Victoria with valuable feedback for future development. The outcome showed that business decisions could be separated from family relationships when proper evaluation frameworks and ethical standards guided the assessment process. Maya understood that her promotion and relocation would create additional distance from family relationships that were already being redefined by her revealed professional status. However, the conversation with Victoria suggested possibilities for maintaining meaningful connection based on mutual respect and professional collaboration, rather than historical patterns of comparison and competition. The executive advancement represented culmination of 18 months of strategic professional development while establishing foundation for continued growth and expanded organizational influence. Maya had demonstrated that systematic skill building and analytical excellence could achieve recognition and advancement in competitive environments where performance determined opportunity rather than inherited advantages or family positioning. Maya Chen's first morning in Chicago began at 5:30 with a comprehensive review of Sterling and Associates' national expansion documentation. The executive suite on the 42nd floor of the Willis Tower provided panoramic views of Lake Michigan and the sprawling metropolitan landscape that would serve as headquarters for her strategic operations oversight responsibilities. The transition to Vice President of Strategic Operations had required intensive preparation during her final 2 weeks in the Southwestern Regional Office. Maya had coordinated the transfer of her previous responsibilities to her successor, while simultaneously preparing for executive duties that would affect Sterling and Associates' growth trajectory across 6 new metropolitan markets. Her new role encompassed responsibility for consulting operations worth approximately $75 million annually, requiring coordination with regional directors, senior consultants, and client relationship managers across multiple geographic territories. The position demanded strategic thinking capabilities that extended beyond operational management to include market analysis, competitive positioning, and organizational development initiatives. Maya had spent her first week in Chicago attending briefing sessions with senior leadership, reviewing expansion plans that had been developed over the previous 18 months, and assessing implementation challenges that would require systematic resolution. The complexity of coordinating multiple regional launches simultaneously demanded analytical frameworks and project management capabilities that built upon her previous experience while extending into unfamiliar operational territories. Dr. Catherine Langford had scheduled Maya's first major strategic presentation for Tuesday morning, requiring comprehensive analysis of market entry strategies for the Pacific Northwest Expansion Initiative. The presentation would demonstrate Maya's ability to synthesize complex market data into actionable recommendations that aligned with Sterling and Associates, strategic objectives, and financial parameters. Maya understood that this initial presentation would establish her credibility with the national leadership team, while providing opportunity to demonstrate analytical capabilities and strategic thinking skills that had earned her executive advancement. The evaluation would influence her integration into senior leadership dynamics and determine the scope of responsibility she would be granted for future strategic initiatives. The Pacific Northwest market analysis had required extensive research into competitive conditions, client acquisition opportunities, and operational requirements for establishing sustainable consulting operations in Seattle and Portland metropolitan areas. Maya had identified key competitors, analyzed their service offerings and pricing structures, and developed strategic positioning recommendations that would differentiate Sterling and Associates' market entry approach. Her financial modeling revealed significant opportunities for profitable growth while identifying potential challenges related to consultant recruitment, office establishment costs, and client relationship development timelines. The analysis provided realistic projections that balanced optimistic growth scenarios with conservative risk assessments necessary for prudent business planning. Maya had also developed implementation frameworks that addressed operational requirements for establishing regional offices, including staffing plans, technology infrastructure specifications, and client relationship management systems that would ensure consistent service delivery across multiple locations while maintaining Sterling and Associates' quality standards. The presentation materials demonstrated sophistication in strategic analysis and practical understanding of business development challenges. Maya had integrated multiple analytical perspectives while maintaining focus on measurable outcomes and implementation feasibility that would enable successful execution of expansion objectives. Tuesday morning's presentation occurred in Sterling and Associates' executive conference room, with the full senior leadership team present to evaluate Maya's strategic recommendations and assess her integration into national operations oversight. The audience included CEO Robert Sterling, Dr. Langford, and 4 additional vice presidents responsible for different aspects of company operations. Maya began with comprehensive market analysis that revealed competitive dynamics and client acquisition opportunities specific to Pacific Northwest business environments. Her research had identified particular strengths in technology sector consulting and healthcare industry strategic planning that aligned with Sterling and Associates' core capabilities while addressing regional market demands. The competitive assessment demonstrated thorough understanding of established consulting firms operating in Seattle and Portland markets, including detailed analysis of their service offerings, pricing structures, client portfolios, and competitive positioning strategies. Maya had identified differentiation opportunities that would enable Sterling and Associates to establish distinctive market presence while avoiding direct competition in oversaturated service categories. CEO Sterling asked probing questions about Maya's market entry timeline and resource allocation recommendations. The inquiries tested her understanding of operational complexity and financial requirements for establishing sustainable consulting operations in competitive metropolitan markets. Maya responded with detailed implementation plans that addressed consultant recruitment strategies, office establishment requirements, technology infrastructure specifications, and client relationship development approaches. Her recommendations demonstrated systematic thinking about operational challenges, while maintaining focus on strategic objectives and financial performance targets. Dr. Langford evaluated Maya's competitive intelligence methodologies and questioned her assumptions about client acquisition timelines and revenue projections. The discussion revealed Maya's analytical rigor and her ability to defend strategic recommendations while acknowledging uncertainty factors that could affect implementation outcomes. Vice President of Operations Michael Thompson focused on staffing and organizational development considerations, exploring Maya's understanding of consultant recruitment challenges and team integration requirements for new regional offices. His questions tested her appreciation for human resource dynamics and organizational culture maintenance across multiple locations. Maya's responses demonstrated sophisticated understanding of consulting industry talent management and organizational development principles. She had developed comprehensive recruitment strategies and professional development frameworks that would ensure consistent service quality, while maintaining Sterling & Associates' collaborative culture across expanded operational territories. The presentation concluded after 90 minutes of detailed discussion covering market analysis, competitive positioning, financial projections, and implementation planning. Maya had successfully demonstrated strategic thinking capabilities and analytical depth that impressed the evaluation committee while revealing practical understanding of business development challenges. Following the presentation, CEO Sterling requested a private meeting with Maya to discuss broader strategic initiatives and her potential role in additional expansion projects beyond the Pacific Northwest market entry. The meeting would explore Maya's capacity for increased responsibility and strategic thinking applications across Sterling & Associates' national growth objectives. The private meeting revealed Sterling & Associates' ambitious expansion plans that extended beyond the 6 metropolitan markets originally outlined in Maya's job description. The company was considering entry into international consulting markets, requiring strategic analysis and implementation planning that would demand exceptional analytical capabilities and cross-cultural business understanding. CEO Sterling explained that Maya's Pacific Northwest presentation had demonstrated strategic thinking sophistication that suggested readiness for expanded responsibility within Sterling & Associates' organizational hierarchy. Her analytical approach and implementation planning capabilities had impressed senior leadership while revealing potential for contributing to company-wide strategic direction. Your systematic approach to complex business analysis represents exactly the strategic thinking we need for ambitious growth initiatives, Sterling observed. I want to explore your interest in assuming additional responsibility for international market assessment and strategic planning coordination. Maya expressed genuine interest in expanded strategic responsibilities while acknowledging that international consulting markets would require different analytical frameworks and cultural understanding beyond her current experience. She requested opportunity to develop additional expertise through targeted research and strategic planning initiatives, before assuming full responsibility for international expansion assessment. Sterling appreciated Maya's realistic self-assessment and commitment to systematic preparation for expanded responsibilities. He proposed a phased approach that would involve Maya in preliminary international market research, while providing access to cultural advisors and international business specialists who could accelerate her learning curve. The conversation concluded with Sterling authorizing Maya to begin preliminary research into European consulting markets, specifically focusing on opportunities in London and Frankfurt financial districts, where Sterling & Associates' strategic planning expertise might complement existing consulting services and address specialized client requirements. Maya returned to her office with expanded strategic responsibilities that exceeded her initial expectations for executive advancement within Sterling & Associates. The international market research assignment would require analytical capabilities and strategic thinking skills that built upon her domestic consulting experience, while extending into unfamiliar cultural and business environments. The afternoon brought meetings with regional directors from existing Sterling & Associates offices, providing opportunity to coordinate expansion planning and assess operational readiness for increased client demand that would result from successful market entry initiatives. These discussions revealed organizational strengths and development needs that would influence implementation timelines and resource allocation strategies. Maya scheduled follow-up meetings with each regional director to develop detailed coordination plans and establish communication protocols that would ensure effective collaboration during expansion phases. The meetings would also provide opportunity to identify high-performing consultants who might be interested in relocation opportunities to new regional offices. During her evening preparation time, Maya reflected on the rapid expansion of her responsibilities and the strategic opportunities that had emerged through consistent performance excellence and analytical capability development. The executive advancement had exceeded her initial expectations while creating platform for influence and impact that extended beyond individual career advancement to affect Sterling and Associates' organizational growth trajectory. Maya understood that success in her expanded role would require continued systematic skill development and strategic thinking refinement, while maintaining the analytical rigor and implementation focus that had earned recognition from senior leadership. The international market research assignment represented both significant opportunity and substantial challenge that would determine her trajectory within Sterling and Associates' executive hierarchy. The conversation with Victoria from the previous week had established foundation for maintaining family relationships while pursuing expanded professional responsibilities that would require geographical flexibility and time commitment beyond previous regional director obligations. Maya appreciated Victoria's understanding and support for her career advancement, while recognizing that sustained family connection would require intentional relationship maintenance despite professional demands. Maya prepared for intensive research and analysis phases that would inform Sterling and Associates' international expansion strategies, while building her expertise in cross-cultural business development and global consulting market dynamics. The assignment would require capabilities that extended beyond domestic market analysis to encompass regulatory environments, cultural considerations, and competitive conditions in international financial centers. The opportunity represented validation of Maya's systematic approach to professional development, while establishing foundation for continued advancement within Sterling and Associates' strategic leadership hierarchy. Success would demonstrate that analytical excellence and strategic thinking capabilities could create sustained career growth and organizational influence through merit-based advancement and consistent performance excellence. The international market research that Maya Chen had been assigned evolved into something far more complex than initial European consulting analysis within 3 weeks of beginning her preliminary investigations. What had started as strategic assessment of London and Frankfurt financial districts transformed into comprehensive evaluation of Sterling and Associates' potential for global expansion across multiple continents and business sectors. Maya discovered that CEO Robert Sterling had been negotiating preliminary discussions with potential international partners for over 6 months, including established consulting firms in London, Frankfurt, Tokyo, and Sydney. The conversations had reached stages where detailed market analysis and strategic partnership frameworks would determine whether Sterling and Associates could successfully establish international presence without compromising service quality or organizational culture. The complexity of international expansion extended beyond market analysis to encompass regulatory compliance, cultural adaptation, legal framework navigation, and operational coordination across multiple time zones and business environments. Maya recognized that successful international expansion would require capabilities that exceeded domestic consulting experience and demanded understanding of global business dynamics that she had not previously encountered. Dr. Catherine Langford scheduled a comprehensive briefing session to explain the full scope of international expansion considerations and Maya's role in developing strategic recommendations that would guide Sterling and Associates' global growth decisions. The meeting would reveal why Maya had been selected for this assignment and the timeline for completing analysis that would influence major organizational direction changes. The briefing occurred in Sterling and Associates' executive conference room, with Maya receiving detailed documentation about preliminary partnership discussions, regulatory requirements for international consulting operations, and competitive analysis of global consulting markets. The materials revealed ambitious expansion plans that would establish Sterling and Associates as multinational consulting organization within 3 years. Dr. Langford explained that Maya's systematic analytical approach and strategic thinking capabilities had convinced senior leadership that she could develop comprehensive international expansion frameworks, despite limited previous experience with global business operations. The assignment would test her adaptability and learning capacity, while providing opportunity to influence Sterling and Associates' strategic direction at fundamental levels. International expansion represents the most significant strategic decision in Sterling and Associates' corporate history, Dr. Langford explained. The analysis you develop will determine whether we pursue global growth initiatives or maintain domestic focus for the foreseeable future. Maya understood the magnitude of responsibility and potential impact associated with this assignment. Her recommendations would affect hundreds of professional careers, millions of dollars in potential revenue, and Sterling and Associates' organizational identity for decades. The pressure was substantial, but the opportunity for influence exceeded anything she had previously experienced. The international market analysis would require coordination with cultural advisors, legal specialists, regulatory experts, and business development professionals across multiple countries. Maya would need to synthesize perspectives from diverse sources while maintaining analytical objectivity and strategic focus that aligned with Sterling and Associates' core competencies and growth objectives. Maya began by developing systematic frameworks for evaluating international market opportunities that could be applied consistently across different geographic regions and regulatory environments. The analytical structure needed to accommodate cultural variations while maintaining comparative assessment capabilities that would enable objective evaluation of expansion alternatives. Her research methodology incorporated competitive analysis, regulatory assessment, cultural adaptation requirements, operational feasibility evaluation, and financial projection development for each potential international market. The comprehensive approach would provide senior leadership with detailed information necessary for informed strategic decision-making. The London market analysis revealed significant opportunities in financial services consulting, particularly strategic planning for investment firms and regulatory compliance advisory services for international banking operations. Maya identified specific service offerings that aligned with Sterling and Associates' expertise while addressing gaps in existing consulting markets. Frankfurt presented different opportunities focused on manufacturing consulting and supply chain optimization services for European Union operations. The market demanded technical expertise and regulatory knowledge that would require substantial consultant training and certification processes before Sterling and Associates could compete effectively. Tokyo market research revealed complex cultural and business protocol requirements that would necessitate extensive adaptation of Sterling and Associates' consulting methodologies and client relationship management approaches. The potential revenue opportunities were substantial, but successful market entry would require significant investment in cultural training and local partnership development. Sydney analysis indicated favorable conditions for business development consulting and organizational efficiency services, with regulatory environments that aligned closely with Sterling and Associates' existing operational frameworks. The market offered the most straightforward expansion opportunity, while providing foundation for broader Asia-Pacific regional development. Maya spent approximately 60 hours per week for 3 consecutive weeks, developing comprehensive market analysis and strategic recommendations for each international opportunity. The research required coordination with external consultants, legal advisors, cultural specialists, and regulatory experts who provided technical expertise that Maya integrated into coherent strategic frameworks. The analytical process revealed Maya's capacity for managing complex information synthesis while maintaining strategic focus and implementation orientation. She demonstrated ability to coordinate multiple expert perspectives while developing original insights that addressed Sterling and Associates' specific expansion requirements and risk tolerance considerations. Maya's preliminary findings indicated that international expansion was feasible, but would require systematic implementation over extended timeframes, with substantial resource commitments and organizational development initiatives. Her recommendations prioritized market entry strategies that built upon Sterling and Associates' core competencies while minimizing operational risks and cultural adaptation challenges. The strategic framework Maya developed emphasized phased expansion beginning with Sydney operations, followed by London market entry, then Frankfurt and Tokyo initiatives over approximately 5 years. The timeline enabled systematic capability development and risk management, while building international expertise that would support continued global growth. Maya scheduled presentation sessions with senior leadership to review her international market analysis and strategic recommendations. The presentations would determine whether Sterling and Associates pursued global expansion initiatives and establish Maya's credibility for continued involvement in strategic planning processes that affected company-wide direction. The first presentation focused on Sydney market entry opportunities and implementation requirements. Maya demonstrated thorough understanding of Australian regulatory environments, competitive conditions, and cultural considerations that would influence Sterling and Associates' market positioning and service delivery approaches. CEO Sterling expressed satisfaction with the analytical depth and strategic thinking demonstrated in Maya's Sydney market assessment. Her recommendations addressed operational feasibility while maintaining focus on measurable outcomes and implementation practicality that aligned with Sterling and Associates' decision-making preferences. The London presentation revealed more complex challenges related to competitive consulting markets and regulatory compliance requirements for international business operations. Maya had developed detailed entry strategies that addressed these obstacles while identifying specific service offerings that would differentiate Sterling and Associates from established market competitors. Dr. Langford questioned Maya's assumptions about consultant recruitment and training requirements for London operations. The discussion explored implementation timelines and resource allocation strategies that would ensure service quality while managing expansion costs and organizational development challenges. Maya's responses demonstrated sophisticated understanding of international business development principles and practical appreciation for operational complexity associated with global expansion. Her strategic recommendations balanced ambitious growth objectives with realistic assessment of implementation challenges and resource requirements. The presentation series concluded with comprehensive strategic framework recommendations that synthesized Maya's analysis across all international markets, while providing implementation timeline and resource allocation guidance for senior leadership decision-making. The framework addressed both opportunities and risks while maintaining focus on measurable outcomes and organizational development requirements. Following the presentations, CEO Sterling requested private consultation with Maya to discuss her personal interest in international assignment opportunities and potential leadership roles in global expansion implementation. The conversation would explore Maya's willingness to relocate internationally and assume expanded responsibilities for Sterling and Associates' global operations oversight. Maya expressed genuine interest in international leadership opportunities, while acknowledging that global expansion would require capabilities and experience beyond her current expertise. She requested opportunity to develop additional skills through targeted training and cultural immersion programs before assuming full responsibility for international operations management. Sterling appreciated Maya's realistic self-assessment and commitment to systematic preparation for expanded responsibilities. He proposed assignment to Sydney operations leadership as initial international experience, with potential progression to broader global oversight based on performance and capability development outcomes. The Sydney leadership opportunity would require Maya to establish Sterling and Associates' first international office, while coordinating with Chicago headquarters to maintain service quality and organizational culture consistency. The assignment would test her adaptability and leadership capabilities while providing practical experience with international business operations. Maya accepted the Sydney assignment with understanding that success would establish foundation for continued advancement within Sterling and Associates' global operations hierarchy. The opportunity represented both significant professional challenge and substantial personal development experience that would affect her career trajectory for the foreseeable future. The International Expansion Initiative had evolved from preliminary market research into comprehensive strategic planning that would influence Sterling and Associates' organizational identity and growth trajectory. Maya's systematic analytical approach and strategic thinking capabilities had positioned her for leadership responsibilities that exceeded her initial expectations, while creating opportunities for continued professional advancement through merit-based progression. The assignment would require relocation to Sydney within 4 months, providing timeline for preparation and transition planning that would ensure effective assumption of international leadership responsibilities while maintaining coordination with Sterling and Associates, domestic operations, and strategic objectives. Maya Chen faced the most challenging ethical dilemma of her professional career during her 3rd week of preparation for the Sydney assignment. The situation emerged when she discovered that Sterling and Associates' proposed Australian partner, Melbourne Strategic Consulting, had been systematically underreporting their financial performance to conceal substantial debt obligations that would compromise the joint venture's viability and potentially expose Sterling and Associates to significant legal and financial liability. The discovery occurred during routine due diligence review of partnership documentation. Maya had requested comprehensive financial audits and regulatory compliance verification as standard procedures for international expansion partnerships. The Australian accounting firm conducting the audit contacted Maya directly with concerns about discrepancies between Melbourne Strategic's reported revenue and their actual client payment records. Further investigation revealed that Melbourne Strategic had been inflating their consultant utilization rates and project completion statistics while understating operational costs and debt service obligations. The misrepresentations created false impressions of financial stability and operational capability that had influenced Sterling and Associates' partnership selection process and strategic planning assumptions. Maya understood that exposing these irregularities would likely terminate the Australian expansion initiative, potentially delaying Sterling and Associates' international growth plans by 18 to 24 months, while alternative partnerships were identified and evaluated. The revelation would also eliminate her Sydney leadership assignment and the associated career advancement opportunities that had represented the culmination of her systematic professional development. The ethical considerations were unambiguous despite the personal and professional consequences. Maya possessed fiduciary responsibility to Sterling and Associates, shareholders and stakeholders to ensure that strategic partnerships were based on accurate information and sound business principles. Concealing Melbourne Strategic's financial irregularities would constitute professional misconduct and potentially expose Sterling and Associates to substantial legal liability. Maya scheduled an urgent meeting with CEO Robert Sterling to report her findings and recommend immediate suspension of partnership negotiations, pending comprehensive investigation of Melbourne Strategic's business practices and financial condition. The meeting would effectively end her international assignment while demonstrating her commitment to professional integrity and organizational protection. The conversation with Sterling occurred in his executive office, where Maya presented detailed documentation of the financial discrepancies and audit findings that revealed Melbourne Strategic's deceptive practices. Sterling reviewed the evidence carefully while processing implications for Sterling and Associates' international expansion timeline and strategic planning. This represents exactly the kind of analytical rigor and ethical leadership we need for international operations, Sterling observed after reviewing Maya's findings. Your discovery of these irregularities demonstrates the systematic approach and professional integrity that convinced us to assign you this responsibility. Sterling appreciated Maya's commitment to thorough due diligence and professional standards despite personal career implications associated with terminating the Australian expansion initiative. Her willingness to sacrifice immediate advancement opportunities to protect Sterling and Associates' interests demonstrated character depth and ethical foundation that reinforced confidence in her leadership potential. The Melbourne Strategic situation required immediate legal consultation and regulatory notification to Australian business authorities. Sterling and Associates would cooperate fully with investigations while protecting their intellectual property and strategic planning information from potential misuse by compromised partnership candidates. Sterling requested that Maya coordinate the partnership termination process while simultaneously developing alternative strategies for Australian market entry that would maintain international expansion objectives without compromising ethical standards or business integrity. The assignment would test her crisis management capabilities while providing opportunity to demonstrate strategic thinking under adverse circumstances. Maya accepted responsibility for managing the partnership dissolution while initiating comprehensive search for alternative Australian consulting firms that could provide legitimate partnership opportunities. The process would require extensive research and due diligence verification to ensure that replacement partnerships met Sterling and Associates' standards for financial stability and operational integrity. The alternative partnership search revealed 3 potentially viable consulting firms in Sydney and Melbourne that possessed appropriate service capabilities and demonstrated financial transparency through independent audits and regulatory compliance documentation. Maya initiated preliminary discussions while conducting thorough background investigations to prevent repetition of the Melbourne Strategic deception. The due diligence process for alternative partnerships required approximately 6 weeks of comprehensive analysis, during which Maya coordinated with legal advisors, financial auditors, and business intelligence specialists to verify the credibility and capability of potential Australian partners. The systematic approach ensured thorough evaluation, while maintaining Sterling and Associates' timeline for international expansion. Throughout the partnership evaluation process, Maya continued developing her expertise in international business operations, through targeted training programs and cultural immersion studies. The preparation would enable her to assume leadership responsibilities for Australian operations, regardless of which partnership arrangement ultimately proved most advantageous for Sterling and Associates. Maya's handling of the Melbourne strategic crisis generated recognition from Sterling and Associates' board of directors, who commended her professional integrity and analytical thoroughness in protecting the company from potentially catastrophic partnership arrangements. The board formally acknowledged her contribution to organizational protection and strategic planning excellence. The recognition from board members established Maya's reputation for ethical leadership and crisis management capabilities that exceeded typical expectations for vice president-level executives. Her systematic approach to problem identification and resolution had prevented substantial financial losses while maintaining Sterling and Associates' strategic growth objectives. Dr. Catherine Langford scheduled a comprehensive evaluation meeting to discuss Maya's crisis management performance and potential implications for her career advancement within Sterling and Associates' organizational hierarchy. The conversation would address both her demonstrated leadership capabilities and expanded responsibilities that might result from board recognition of her professional integrity. The evaluation meeting revealed that Maya's handling of the Melbourne strategic situation had convinced senior leadership that she possessed executive capabilities appropriate for expanded organizational responsibility beyond international operations oversight. The board had authorized exploration of additional strategic planning roles that would utilize her analytical capabilities and ethical leadership approach. Your response to the partnership crisis demonstrated exactly the kind of strategic thinking and professional integrity we need for senior executive advancement, Dr. Langford explained. The board believes you have potential for responsibilities that extend beyond international operations to encompass company-wide strategic planning and organizational development. Maya expressed interest in expanded strategic responsibilities while maintaining focus on international expansion objectives that aligned with her systematic professional development goals. She requested opportunity to complete successful establishment of Australian operations before assuming additional organizational duties that might compromise her effectiveness in international markets. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.